Welcome to Between Two Fountains, episode 3. I'm Mick Shaffer. He's Greg Gurley. We're your hosts for another week of fun. How are you doing, Greg?
Super Bowl week. Doing great.
Dude, this is great. On my phone, every day come up pictures from last year or the year before or the year before that, or like 5 times in the last 7 years where I've been in New Orleans or Vegas or Miami or somewhere, Phoenix, doing Super Bowl stuff, really hating my life, honestly. So I like that I'm here with you now.
Well, my phone's the same way, but it'll be like a play like the Sammy Watkins touchdown or the Mahomes scramble on this day. So I'm sitting there like rewatching Chiefs highlights constantly on my phone.
Yeah. Our phone's like, here's what I was doing February 4th of last year. Can you see this? Look at this.
That appears to be, that's an alligator. Oh, wow. Is that a live alligator?
It was without no tape on the mouth either. It was at the media night party, and they had you holding snakes and alligators.
Did you eventually kill it? You said it was.
No. It happened in the past, so that's why I said it was.
Oh, okay.
I did not eventually kill it. If it would have gone either way, it would have been him killing me. But he was like an old gator, like he's a prop gator, like he knows the deal. He's a PR gator, and they're like, he's fine.
He's a prop gator.
There's such a thing as a prop Al, gator. And so I was holding him and got a bunch of pictures there. That was this time a year ago.
Yeah.
And now I'm here with another big dumb animal.
Big dumb animal. Well, thank you for that. That's quite an intro. Would you say that, you and I were talking this morning, is this the least interested you've been, not just because Kansas City's not in it, but is this the least interesting Super Bowl week you've ever been a part of?
100%. Like we're talking, and look, it might come from the perspective that we're Kansas Cityans, right? We're used to our team being in it.
But I think in years past, before we started our run, I was like engaged. I was like, all right, it's Atlanta and New England or whatever. I'm like, okay. But like Seattle and New England, like this isn't, the old New England. This is fine. I mean, you look at, I think it was Jeff Chadilla was on there on Sports Radio 810, and he said, name the common fan couldn't, outside of Seattle and New England, couldn't name 5 guys on each team. And I watch a lot of football, and I love it.
That might be tough for me on Seattle.
Outside of Drake May and Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
I mean, the Patriots got Stephon Diggs. I get it. The one guy, Butte, whatever you say it.
The great catch, yes.
I don't know. It's like it. And then Seattle is, I don't know, that guy with the 2 last names, like Jackie Joyner-Kersee, the receiver.
JSN. Yes, Jackie Joyner-Kersee.
Yeah. So
Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Yes. There you go. Correct. That's correct.
Why didn't we call her JJK? I don't know why.
Yeah. It's weird.
Mary Lou Retton, whoever it is. Yeah, he plays for the Seahawks. I know 2 like inactive guys or guys who are at the bottom of the roster for the Seahawks just because they're from Kansas City. There's a Blue Valley kid, and there's a kid from Maryville. So I know them.
There you go.
But after that, I'm with you. It might be hard to get to 5 or 10. I chalked it up to because back in the day when the Chiefs wouldn't even sniff a Super Bowl, we would have 2 or 3 friends every year that would host parties.
Right.
And it was fun, right? And then the Chiefs start going to Super Bowls. I can't go to those parties anymore, but they're events, right? They're huge, right? I mean, it is all of our friend group. They're going, it's an all day thing. It is big time. And so now this year, I don't even know anybody hosting parties, right? It's obviously not an event like the Chiefs was. It's almost like we've come down a step. So I chalked it up to us being spoiled as Chiefs fans, but maybe it's just not an interesting Super Bowl.
And then my question on the economic side of it is are these commercials going to be as expensive as they've been in the past? Because now they're probably all things that have been signed and paid for months ago, but I can't imagine the advertisers are excited about this Super Bowl.
8 to 10 million. So yeah, they're going to pay for them. 30-second commercial for Super Bowl 60, 8 to 10 million.
Yeah. Well, I'll watch it because I'm a sports guy. I love it, and I'll be totally engaged in it. But yeah, we're gonna have like Kate's gonna be in town from Denver, so like 4 of us are gonna watch it. But you're right. Used to be, you almost like as popular as you and I are, we got invited to lots and lots of Super Bowl.
So many. I had to choose, right? I'd
Yeah,
bounce between quarters to parties.
So now it's like maybe I'm not as popular or nobody cares.
I guess nobody cares. It's crazy. So I work for the NBC station, right? NBC has hosted Super Bowls 56 and 60. Do you want to know the only Super Bowls the Chiefs haven't gone to in the last 8 years?
60.
56 and 60. It's been great. Appreciate that. Thanks.
So you're like we said on him, like you do something like on the news, or what do you do?
Your mom watches. She emails a lot.
Your demographic is 83-year-old women. Yes.
10 years ago, it used to be 73-year-old women. 20 years used to be 63. But
really grown.
We need them to stay alive.
Your viewership. Good job.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate that. Who listens to the radio broadcasts?
My mom. Amy went to Radio Shack and bought like one of those tiny little radios and she listens to the game.
Do people like still try to like sync up you and Brian to like the TV broadcast?
They do, and there's a way to do it on like, for some reason they video us on a webcam on Facebook Live, so you can go to the Kansas Athletics page and watch us do audio, but it doesn't show the game. But there actually is a good amount of people that do it, and they comment, and people usually comment like,
you got to watch out. You can't be like making faces like maybe you would if there wasn't a camera there.
Very accurate. Yeah, this started probably,
or I don't know, gestures.
What are you playing craps? I don't know what you're doing there.
Just get him out of there.
Get him out of there. Yes, no, because I'll get texts from my friends that stumble upon it and be like, you look fat on camera, or whatever. God, thanks for checking in on me.
Those are the best kind of friends right there. Hey, if we're tired about the Super Bowl, at least everybody's really excited, Greg, about the Pro Bowl. That's right. Did you know about the Pro Bowl this week?
Yes, because ESPN was promoting it, but like, this is embarrassing. I mean, not to mention Shedeur Sanders made the Pro Bowl, which was crazy, which tells you everything you need to know about how bad it is now. Like, they're playing flag football with hats on
a Tuesday at the Super Bowl in a convention center on a 50-yard field in bucket hats and sunglasses.
This is high school shit. This is terrible.
But the funniest part was, I wish I would have edited her in there. There's Jamar Chase, by the way, playing defense. By the way, Jamar Chase had 5 tackles this year, which hashtag quarterbacks. So well done, Jamar. Hell of a catch there. I should have edited her in there. The Queen Bee ref. They must have got the best flag football ref in the country. She was throwing flags every other play because these NFL guys don't know like the nuanced rules of flag. It's a lot different, right?
Nor should they.
Oh, and they were not obeying them whatsoever. Sanders is like swiping guys' hands as they're trying to take his flag. That's a no-no. Can't do that. And she was the star of the show. She got out there and was just calling all these wild penalties nobody had ever heard of.
Did Shedeur have more touchdowns in the Pro Bowl than he did this season?
He absolutely looked better. Yes, he looked better. I mean, there's no pass rush really, or if there is, there's one guy. And he looked like he belonged, even though he didn't belong. But the
most successful professional sports franchise in the world, NFL and Premier League, right? But like, how is this their? Like, how do they do this?
They're all worth like $100 million now, and they don't want to get hurt. Although one of these times, even in the flag game, somebody's going to tear up a knee, and that'll be the end of that.
And the NBA All-Star game is approaching this level of stupidness, whatever.
They're too valuable to take a quote-unquote exhibition game seriously, or for a lot of them to play it.
The NBA All-Star game is remember those rock and jock basketball games MTV?
They were great.
that's like the equivalent of it's just alley-oops, and I don't know. Never watch it again.
This was Garrett Bowles, by the way. He's an O lineman for the Broncos. Played receiver like the entire game. That's
like right there, he could have broke his collarbone.
Done for.
Blown a knee out or whatever.
For this on a Tuesday at a convention center at the Super Bowl. The crazy part is it's 7-on-7, so half the roster, like, I don't know, these offensive linemen, they just sit there on the sideline. The D linemen just sit there on the sideline. Outside of the occasional O lineman will go in there and play some football.
Embarrassing for the league. They need to just get rid of it, and they got enough money. Just elect him to the Pro Bowl.
Probably should have jettisoned the Pro Bowl years ago.
Get rid of it.
They should do. They're all gamers, right? They should set up a Pro Bowl where you control yourself, right? From quarterback all the way down to offensive tackle to defensive line, all that stuff. You control yourself and you play virtually.
Okay.
No ACLs torn there.
Yeah. Or make it, get Madden to give you a bunch of money and just do a video game tournament next year.
Yeah.
Just embarrassing. But yeah, you just said it best. On a Tuesday night in a convention center, they had the Pro Bowl. So like the Emmett Smiths of the world are like, this is ridiculous. They should go to Honolulu.
The week before, they could have had like some sort of I don't know, Girl Scouts convention or something like that.
Right. Or one of those
Comic Con was there.
There was one of those deals with the Irish river dancing festivals. Remember those when you go with your kid? Like, oh, yeah, it could have been one of those. But yeah,
could have been anything. But that's where we are with the Pro Bowl. But there was some money involved, I guess. And listen, this might not go away because flag football is about to be an Olympic sport when it comes to the U.S. in 2028 or 2028.
That was a depressing comment, but you're correct. But you said it best, though. It won't go away because of money, because guys in their contract make more money if they make a Pro Bowl.
Pro Bowl, yeah.
Television paid 10 years ago or whatever to have Pro Bowls, and this is what they get. So,
they were the AFC quarterback side. I mean, Joe Flacco was in it as well. They had so many guys turn it down. They were probably only a couple phone calls away from dialing Patrick Mahomes and saying, hey, we'll get you out there in one of those scooters, or those old Charlie Weiss scooters he used to have, and you can just come please play in the Pro Bowl.
If Shador was in Cancun or whatever, Gardner Minshew was next.
He was next because
he was going to be the next Pro Bowl better, fill in.
Chris Oladokin, they were going to call. All right, so we were spoiled because Tuesday night we saw the Pro Bowl. We were spoiled by Monday night, Greg, watching an awesome, great. I called it like Saturday when KU played BYU. I called it like an old school Big 12 atmosphere there. I know BYU wasn't in it that long, hasn't been in it that long, but the way the Allen Fieldhouse was rocking, the performance KU put on, all that stuff, that felt like 10 years ago, and maybe we haven't had that feeling in a few years in Lawrence. And then that game in Lubbock, that felt like another great big Monday game where it comes down to the wire and either team can win. It's just a couple plays, great players on each side. It harkened me back. I've got my Big 8 picture over here.
That's right.
Again, Tech's not in that, but they've been in for a long time. I felt nostalgia on Monday night, Greg. You were right there. What'd you feel?
Yeah, we've had some great times in Lubbock. We've had some frustrating losses in Lubbock. That end of the court, I can remember Devontae Graham, a flip from the hip to win. I can remember Wiggs and Joel Embiid, last second tip in to win. And then, there's been some bad ones, but Monday night was either a great defensive effort or an offensive struggle or kind of a little bit of both. And then the best player in the country rose up after a subpar game for him, even though he led us in scoring, and made 2 shots in the final minute that there's not anybody else in the country. Might be what he just did on Monday night shows you why he's that guy. I mean, the first 3 was he had about an inch to work with on the sideline. Bill dials up a great play that we haven't seen all year. We talk so much about, in November and December, they're just going. It's just 3-man motion out top, 4 round 1. But when you get deeper into the Big 12 season, you start to see Bill's playbook expand that you keep right there. Little pin. He goes out top like he's going to get a dribble handoff.
But I mean, like, it's not like Tech was fooled. They had a guy right there.
But he overplayed it, so there couldn't be that dribble handoff, like right there. And then boom, a little nudge, not even much of a screen, but he had to go around him. And that's all the space Darren needed. And that was the biggest three because we were down 3 at the time. But then this one, defensively, they've been great all game. And they were just a little slow. They didn't hedge it. They didn't get the ball out of Darren's hands. They just kind of went under, and Darren just made a shot. And right there, JT Toppin is so worried about Flory that he doesn't force him to the sideline.
Well, and two, I liked your earlier point about, like, okay, there's a lot of guys, if they get hot, right? A lot of guys in college basketball, you get hot, you can hit those shots. You're feeling it, right? But when you're not feeling it, when you have the tendency to dwell on, okay, this shot wasn't falling, he wasn't hitting his free throws, that kind of stuff. You're kind of thinking in the past. It's so hard, and it really takes a special type of player to block all that out, forget the negative, and then come up big and hit those shots like he's been hitting them all game long.
Right. I mean, I think he had only attempted like 1 or 2 field goals the entire second half up to that point.
Yeah, there was no rhythm there. There was no heat check, nothing.
And let's, again, I love this platform because I can get, hopefully, everyone to shut up about Darren Peterson. A couple of weeks ago in Colorado,
do that.
They're not going to do that because everybody is smart, right? Everyone knows exactly what's going on. They know better than Bill Self and everything. They know they're smarter than everyone. And so something's going on, right? Hey, the guy's dealing with some stuff. He sat out, but he sprains his ankle against Colorado, finishes the game. No one says boo about it. He puts on the best performance I've seen in a half of basketball, from getting to his spots, creating opportunities. He had 3 steals in that BYU game, going up against arguably the best or second best player in the country, and he won that battle. I mean, there was 32 scouts in the building. The only guy that made more money than Darren Peterson that day was Richie Saunders, because he
he went from a lower level to
I don't know if he was lower level, because Richie Saunders is a pro, but man, God, he was making shots. He elevates on his jump shot. So I mean, he was great, but Rob Wright and AJ just didn't have the game. So then, you go to Lubbock and everyone, because he didn't play in the second half against BYU, like, what are we going to get? And, I go to shoot around on Monday, full participant. He's great. And then starts as a decent first half. But then he sat for about.
I was worried, right? Right. That media timeout, the first one in the second half was like, are we going? Here we go again.
Yeah. And we're down 10. And we're like, and then and Brian and I were like, all right, here he comes. It's great. And then kind of waded through, didn't give a lot of credit to Tech because they're smart and strong and really good defensively. But then they just had a brain fart and lost him twice at the most crucial part of the game. And we were kind of, when they scored 2 points. Texas scored 2 points in the final 6 minutes.
It's 14-2 run. That's the other deal. Like, and Bill hit on it too. It's like, okay, when you do that, that Peterson's the story, but 8 other points were scored by other guys, and you had to play great defense for about 8 to 10 possessions there,
right? At least, yeah. And then, but Grant McCaslin's got to be so frustrated with his team because great coach. They're going to be a team that has a chance at Indianapolis, obviously. And that was
at the ends of both halves, I thought he got out coached. I thought Bill rose to the occasion and figured it out because, for 30 minutes of that game, Tech was the better team. Last 5 minutes of the first, basically the last 5 minutes of the second half, KU just dominated.
And I'm not a Texas Tech defender at all, but we also got a comment that Christian Anderson didn't play in this game. And he is I don't know if he's a lottery pick, but he's a first rounder. He's really, really good. And we got word, just like our coaches got word, like 3 minutes before the game that he wasn't playing. Like, what?
Well, and he was standing there too the entire game. They kept taking shots. They're like, okay, is he gonna try? Is he gonna play? And he just never got in.
And at first I thought, oh, is it the stomach flu or is it food poisoning? But then he was just out there like walking around. Like if he was that sick, you wouldn't want him around the other guys to get them sick if he had something. And so I don't know. I mean, obviously a few people know, but we don't what actually happened. And, Brian was saying the politically correct thing, like, you want to beat them with their best. And unfortunately he's not playing. I'm sitting there like, I don't mind this at all. Here's
really the deal. Good. I got strong opinions on that statement. People say all the time, you want to beat them at their best. Okay, yes. If the win is guaranteed, I would rather the best. I'm put Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen out there. Okay, I would rather beat them if the win's guaranteed. I don't want to play them at their best, right? If the win's not guaranteed, yes, give me your B effort, right? If you're a really good team, I'm good with that because nobody keeps track of like, well, that guy was injured and this guy wasn't playing well.
You think Duke wasn't happy when Darren Peterson didn't play at the Champions Classic? They're like
thrilled. They're like, dang it, we don't get to play a better team today. No.
Yeah. No. You said it best. Afterwards, you're always like, well, we won, but it would have been best if they had their best guys. They're like,
yeah, sure. Okay. Had we won, if the win is guaranteed, yes, put whoever we want. Let's play 5-on-10 out there, okay? If the win is guaranteed. But I don't want to play a team at their best.
Yeah, no. So, I'm a homer.
All right. Is Mark Turgeon to Kansas City basketball? Everybody calls him UMKC, but I think it's officially Kansas City Kangaroo basketball.
Okay.
Is it the greatest hire in the history of the sports, Greg?
That's a very bold statement. I'm not going to say it's the greatest hire in the history of.
I said, I don't know. It's my own podcast. I can do whatever I want.
Now, am I surprised? Yes. Am I ecstatic for Kansas City? Yes. I think it's a great hire. And I'll go back 25 plus years. My dad was on the athletic board at UMKC, and it was at a time they were picking coaches. And it was the three candidates were Mark Turgeon, Mike Anderson, and Bob Sunvold. And there was a group of guys that wanted Turge. There were a group of guys that wanted Anderson, and they ultimately hired Bob Sunvold.
There was nobody that wanted Sunvold?
Well, obviously there was because they hired him.
Okay.
And so they hired and Bob Sunvold, best dude, great guy. But if you look hindsight 2020, as you go down the road, Mark Turgeon and Mike Anderson go on to great success at the high Power 4 level. And UMKC, it's a hard job. This is a hard job, and it's even harder now. So Mark Turgeon takes the job. I love it. I absolutely love it. I was just with Turge in Chapel Hill just, back in November when we played. His son goes to North Carolina. We went out and hanging out, and I was asking him how a retired life is. He goes, love it. It's absolutely amazing, and I don't miss it. And so I took that, and I'm like, okay. So when I saw the ticker the other day that Mark Turgeon took the job, I was very surprised. I texted several people in the basketball world, and they were surprised as well. Now, doesn't mean they weren't happy for him or Kansas City, because, again, it's a great hire. And I think Turge is exactly what they need. But what Turge needs to make Kansas City successful isn't money for him. It's money for a really good staff. And most
NIL, baby. Yeah.
He's going to need money to get guys. And then once you get the guys and you go on a run, trying to keep them is damn near impossible. So it's going to be a 1-year revolving door of unrestricted free agency with 1-year contracts, just like everyone else is dealing with. But at the mid-major level, it's even more difficult. So a lot of challenges, but, he's going to have to be a fundraiser, and Kansas City people, donors, people that are passionate about the program are going to have to step up and support it if this is to work.
Yeah, so I was Zooming with Turge the other night, and I asked him the question, like, last time he coached was 2021, right? And college basketball is completely unrecognizable from then till now. And I thought I was going to get the old school answer, because he's an old school coach, of like, I hate it now. The portal sucks. Just the NIL is it's too much, all of it. And instead, I got the opposite. He goes, how it is now, it's the only reason I'm coming back. I would have not come back if it weren't for the portal and NIL. Because he goes, I don't want to do it the old school way where I win 5 games the first year and then 10 and then maybe 12 and then maybe 15. He's like, no, I want to switch this as quickly as possible. And he goes, I know on the back end, I'll be losing guys every year and it's going to take a lot of injury, but that's the quickest way. I'm not in this for the long haul. And he makes no bones about it. It's a 5-year contract. We'll see if he even lasts that long. So bring the son along as well. That's a cool opportunity for him. So I thought it was a very refreshing answer, one we don't hear much about in sports, of his situation. He's like, no, NIL and the portal has made this better for me.
Yeah, and you have to embrace it. I've said it many times over the last 5 years. There's 2 schools of thought. You can embrace it and live with it and use it to your benefit, or you can ignore it and get left behind. You have to look at this Kansas City job like he's looking at it, because it won't work without it. And I know Turds well, and he's going to have stuff lined up because it's going to take money, because you can't. You got to go get a point guard and a big guy. If you can have a good point guard and a big guy that are legit,
yeah,
you can build the pieces around it. And Kansas City has always been an enigma when you look around the country at other metropolitan universities. Let's call them Memphis, Houston, Cincinnati. You look at these cities that are similar to Kansas City, and for whatever reason, Kansas City's been unable to do it. And there's many factors.
Wichita State's a commuter school too.
Yeah, exactly. And back when I was
basketball season,
back late in high school and college, UMKC had it rolling with Lee Hunt. He had a Richard Dumas.
He had Tony Dumas. Richard Dumas was at Oklahoma State.
Richard Dumas. Tony Dumas.
Both were great, by the way, around the same time. Yep.
Yeah. Tony Dumas, Schmitz, a guy by the name of David Robinson, Jay Boster. Like, there were guys that I used to play a lot of basketball with, and they were good, but they weren't in a league. So they could have the greatest season ever, but they didn't have a conference tournament in order to win it, to get to the NCAA tournament. So no one really cared. I used to go to a lot of UMKC games. My dad was tight with their athletic director, and we had like 40 tickets to the UMKC game, which was a lot of times 36 too many.
That's too many.
But we would go, you drink there and have a nice time. We sat courtside, and it was good basketball. But they could just never get it going. And then we just kind of been in that cycle. So great opportunity, embraced by a big time coach and Mark Turgeon. And I'm excited about the next 5 years.
Yeah. And I mean, back in the day, they were in a league like the Mid-Con for so long that had Valpo and IUPUI at Oakland. They were still mid-majors, but they were good mid-majors. Valpo, as we saw, was capable of winning in the NCAA tournament. Now I feel like in the Summit League, this thing's gettable. It's more gettable. I know there's some good teams out there, but what ORU used to be a powerhouse, that's not a thing anymore. You're basically battling the Dakotas, whichever 2 are going to be really good that year. But they're beatable. And I think if you recruit right here in Kansas City, it's doable. You look at Washburn. They're undefeated in D2. It's all Kansas City guys. Look at Iowa. It has to have Kansas City guys who were at Northwest Missouri State 2 years ago, who knows, a lot of them might have loved a D1 offer from UMKC.
Yeah, and the hard part for UMKC has always been getting those Kansas City kids to go there as freshmen. Because what would happen is you'd get a really good kid that was maybe not, they kind of overstepped where they could go, and they would go
bounce back like a Quentin Day that went to USC.
Correct. Great player, great high school player, but Blackwell
went to Creighton, bounced
Blackwell's
back.
Another guy, and he was great. But and again, you could look at nowadays, it might be easier to get them because if you're a top 75 kid and you're really, really good, but you're maybe not USC good or Creighton good or Kansas good, whatever. And you go like a guy like me, who was a good high school player. I wouldn't get recruited. I wouldn't get recruited by I'd get recruited, but they wouldn't I wouldn't be a target at the University of Kansas now because I was a guy that was maybe going to play more as a junior and a senior, but you take a flyer on because he's local and all that. But a guy like me would have to go to a Drake or a whatever and prove myself and then come back as a transfer, because if you're not Darren Peterson or Tyron Stokes, like, they're recruiting elites and then they fill in with transfers. So therefore, UMKC could benefit from that scenario.
Yeah. All right, Greg. I went to a quick trip on Saturday. It's not big news. I go to at least one quick trip every single day.
Really?
Times 2, sometimes 3 plus.
Do you eat roller food?
All the time, buddy.
Really? Okay.
Only the best goes in this temple of the body. Okay. Mm-hmm. So we're at volleyball in KCK, an experience I'm sure you're aware of all day long, right? In between each match, you're always looking to go somewhere. Went to Chicago's between a couple matches, slaps, ran an errand to QT.
What about El Polo Rey?
Not yet. Maybe next time. Maybe next in a couple weeks in Power League. But I stumbled upon this quick trip. These are generic quick trip photos. So not this exact quick trip. It's on, I guess, State Line Road. I don't know. It's over there, kind of off Southwest Boulevard, where you're kind of we in Kansas, we in Missouri, who knows over there. But we stumbled upon this quick trip that is half in Missouri and half in Kansas. And I sit there mesmerized by the guy at the counter telling me all this. I spent half an hour in the quick trip because he said, okay, the register and the booze, right, the hard stuff, it's on the Missouri side. And then everything else, roller dogs, all that stuff. Now, you can sell beer at a QT in Kansas, on the Kansas side, but you cannot sell, whiskey or bourbon, vodka, what have you. So that's on the Kansas side. I'm like, I'm floored by this. And it's kind of all I've thought about since Saturday.
I'm going to throw a hook in here. Could we see a dispensary in there?
That's what I was thinking. Like, could you do that on the Missouri side? And now it's kind of ruined this dynamic because, Missouri has voting now. Has gambling now.
Whoa,
they've had voting for a long time. But before, you could have had dispensary on one side of the QT, and then a little gambling, sports gambling, little table on the Kansas side. My mind is abuzz.
I think there's a liquor distributor right out at 135th and State Line Kenneth that is on both sides as well, and that was
brilliant.
The warehouse is shared by both states, and they can do it a little bit differently. So that's very interesting. There should be more.
I don't know what side the gas pumps were on, and if that mattered, taxes, all that stuff. I feel like they're on the Kansas side, but I'm not sure.
I mean, gas is typically cheaper in Missouri, right?
I don't know. I'm not one of those guys that looks at gas prices.
I argue
around, look for the best. I get there, it could be $10, and I put them. I'm like, okay, that's kind of high, and then I just move on.
Amy's like that, and she'll be like, "Hey,
I'm like your wife." Okay, good.
7 cents cheaper over there, and I'm like, "All right, so I don't know, 15 gallons, yeah, awesome, 70."
But do that math. I'd rather just not do the math and just pump the gas. It's $1 difference or whatever.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it doesn't matter to a guy like you. You're so rich. You have you have agave plants in your house and all the finest tequilas and bourbons and whiskeys. And yes.
Yeah, that's fake, I think. I don't know.
There's no think about it. That's fake.
Only clean area of my house. All right, before we get out of here, I know we talked some Super Bowl earlier, but I want to talk some more Super Bowl. We got the prop bets. They're always big, right? They're fun. And I'm looking at them for the first time in a long time because I'm not at the Super Bowl. Here are my 10 favorite prop bets. Greg, comment as you can. I know you're a university employee and all that stuff, and just a straight arrow guy, right? I mean, just letter of the law guy always in your life. But here's what I've liked so far. Will Mac Hollins enter the stadium barefoot? I think, minus 550. That's not a good. I think it's yes. So no would be an upset in this one. So you're getting good odds for no. He's the wide receiver for the Patriots. Often shows up barefoot. He wore like a Muppets mask, I think, to the Chiefs game.
He's an interesting cat.
He wore an animal mask.
Yeah.
But was barefoot. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is the Super Bowl, literally. So I think he's going to keep it going.
I'm sure I can comment on that one. That seems like a yes to me. Yes.
Got to be a yes. Will they mention the matchup Mike versus Mike? Again, I think this is a layup. I think it should be plus 900 on this one. Mike Vrabel versus Mike McDaniel. Right?
Yeah, that's a dumb one. But it seems like they will mention it. Why is that?
That just all it takes is one mention and you win.
Right. Or say like one of the broadcasters watching this podcast, which is very likely.
Very likely. So I would pick yes on that one. Good odds. So yeah, plus 200.
The Green Day one is interesting. We were driving to Manhattan the other day, and we went on a Green Day Essentials on Apple Music, and I don't know. I'll probably go with American Idiot.
It's a great one. That's the favorite right here. What else?
You know what we should have done, Mick? That should have maybe been one of the titles we chose, or at least considered American Idiots.
Yeah, I like it. We can still change it. We're only a few episodes in here.
Yeah.
It's going to be an upbeat song. Yeah, it's going to be so not like a Boulevard of Broken Dreams or anything like that. Maybe when I come around. But yeah, I think American Idiot's a good bet there. All right. Will Bad Bunny expose a nipple? I say no, but that's good odds on no.
Yeah, it's probably good odds for a reason. I think the nipple stuff is probably over, especially
run its course.
Bad Bunny.
The NFL tries to, they try to maintain control with their halftime shows. Try, but we'll see with this one. I feel like Bad Bunny might be itching to do something risque. All right, will Seattle attempt to pass from the opponent's 1 yard line? If it happens, it's plus 550. No, is
the all-time worst goal line call ever. Ever. Like not even close. Like you could have. They've been showing that one so much as of late, and I'm just still.
I would have been afraid not to hand off to Marshawn Lynch, not just for the press conference and losing the game afterward, but I would be afraid of Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
baffling.
Patriots linebacker, yada, yada. Will Dave Portnoy be removed from Levi's Stadium plus 1,000, plus 2,000 if he's handcuffed?
Does he get removed a lot? I don't know.
I don't know, but they're thinking maybe he's a drunk and he's always looking for attention like that. And he's obviously a Patriots fan. And so it's a possibility.
Okay.
I don't think I'd throw any money that way, though.
Yeah.
And finally, the last three here, will Terry McCauley disagree with a call after a review? That's a funny one.
That is no chance.
I would go yes and try to roll the dice and get some money off that one.
No, it's always, it's clearly a pass interference, and even though it's not, this
is one I feel like you can always, there's inside information. You could easily find out the color of Gatorade.
Correct.
That one. And I have been at the Super Bowl, as I mentioned before, walking in early, and you can hear them practicing the national anthem, the artist who's singing it. I'm like, all I got to do is get a stopwatch on this puppy, and I can get a pretty good idea on if it's going to be over 2 minutes or under or whatever. Now, I know maybe in the heat of the moment, he or she gets out there and they carry those notes longer, but that's always one, along with the Gatorade, like you could easily figure that one out.
You keep saying easily, I would imagine
all I had to do was get my phone out, and I didn't. I was just kind of lazy and time the national anthem.
All the extras from Goodfellas sitting in a room in Vegas making these odds have thought of that. You're not going to outsmart Uncle Pauly.
Well, they might just be, though, like there's only a few people in there at the time. We'll take that hit for the million that aren't in there and bet it. So.
Fair.
And then finally, will Stephon Diggs propose to Cardi B after the game? This is an interesting one because I didn't know they were dating.
Oh, I actually did know that, or at least they were together at some point. But she was at like the game the other day, and was it in Houston or whatever? So
yeah, okay.
I don't know.
Good for those two youngsters. I bet it lasts forever.
You know what? Yeah, this seems like just a match made
True
in
love.
heaven that will be 60 years of bliss.
Yes. All right, Greg, anything else before we get out of here?
Got a big weekend coming up here in Lawrence, Utah. Then next Monday.
Big weekend.
I mean, weekend, go into Monday, with Arizona.
That's a big one.
Likely being the 23-0, number one team in the country. So I called it a weekend, but I got somewhat slapped and, told that I shouldn't be asking this question by our head coach, because I said, hey, we got a big weekend coming up, Utah, then Arizona. And he was like, Arizona? Utah is free. Like, in his post game.
Good.
No matter what I say, and
I wish he literally slapped you. I want to see that.
Yeah. I prefaced it with I understand we have two, but whatever. No matter what I say, but he was right, and he needed to say it, but so did I. So Utah, we lost to last year in Utah. That really was a difficult weekend in Salt Lake and Provo, but opportunity to continue this winning streak, and another good time here in Lawrence. Why don't you come up? Is your what station are you on? Are you guys going to do some stuff at
BC? It's we'll be there Monday. I will not be there Saturday. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I'm like you. I'm looking past Utah.
Fair enough.
Worst team, I believe, in the Big 12. It's close, but it's the worst team. All right. We'll see you next week on Between Two Fountains. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye now.